Hi, good afternoon. It's Bill again. Last time we get together, we talk about how your health and happiness is actually a combination of 5 elements working perfectly in sync with each other in harmony so that we can create this symphony of balance, um, which creates our happiness, health, and success in life, right? Now, this time I'd like to take a little deeper dive in one of the elements. So where should we start? Um, your health is your wealth. So let's start with your health. In looking at your health, our body creates a big part of it. That we'll talk about it, the mental aspect in our next video. But this time, let's talk about our body. Now, our body constitutes two things, what you eat and also how much you exercise, right? Now, you are what you eat. So what do you put in your body? Okay, that determines how vibrant, how much energy you have in your body every day, and also it determines how healthy you are. So let's examine this a little bit deeper first. Let's take a look at a state of health in America today. How many of you think we are very healthy country? Okay, according to WHO, 90% of American adults will be overweight or obese by the year 2050. Currently is about somewhere around 80% Americans are overweight and somewhere around 44% are obese after the pandemic. 30% of Americans will have diabetes in 2030, and that's not very healthy. Diabetes is one of the worst disease you could ever get. Currently, about 11% of Americans have diabetes, and it is skyrocketing. Okay, the Americans are being hijacked by diabetes fast. And 60% of Americans have one type or another of chronic illnesses. And chronic illnesses are something that stays with you for a long time, sometimes even a lifetime. Okay, and currently, the American Medical Society has not found real cures for chronic illnesses. They found a lot of cures for acute illness, but not chronic illness. Many times when you have a chronic illness, you gotta take drugs for the rest of your life, right? Prescription drugs, I meant. And then, 90% of the Americans 65 years or older takes one drug or another every day, okay? And that's a lot. And when people get up to 65, you're really dependent on drugs, and 18% takes somewhere around 5 drugs or more. That's a lot of drugs every day, okay? And let me tell you, each drug has its side effects. In order to cure the side effect or manage even the side effects, you need to take another drug on top of that. So you have drugs to alleviate side effects for another drugs. And you end up taking more and more drugs every day. You're dependent on drugs. And that's why the pharmaceutical companies are so fat, right? The big pharmas are making somewhere around billion dollars annually. And that's a lot of money, let me tell you. So why are we in such a crisis right now? One of the reasons is we are a country that's getting fatter and fatter, and a lot of the chronic illnesses has its roots in obesity. And obesity right now is costing a lot of money in this country. It's costing about $190 billion annually. And that's about 21% of our overall annual medical expenses in this country. And let me tell you, it's ironic because dieting is a huge business in this country. It's a $1 billion business. Somewhere it's not working right now. Why isn't it working? How do you know if you're obese or overweight? One of the easiest ways to detect that is to measure your BMI. So get on your Google, okay, and type in BMI calculator. What you do is you put in your heights and then your weights, okay, either in pounds or kilos, and then it will calculate directly for you. You get a BMI score. Now, the BMI score, if it falls somewhere between 18.5 to about, I say about 24.9, you're doing okay. And that doesn't mean you're perfectly healthy. It's more optimal if you fall on the lower end. So if you're between 18.5 to about 22, you're at the optimal health. But if you fall on the higher end, that still needs work, okay? The other way to measure it is to look at your waist size, okay? You take a measuring stick or measuring ruler, go around your waist, and then measure your height. Your waist should be no more than half your height in inches or meters, okay? So you measure it and then see how, and where you measure that? You measure that right around your abdominal area. So it's between your hip bones and between the lower part of your rib cage. Okay, so you measure that. Don't suck it in now. Just be relaxed. Measure that and then measure your height. Minimum half of your height. And if you can go substantially below that, it'll be perfect. It'll be a lot better. Okay, so half of the American population right now, almost half. Okay, I mentioned what, 44% are obese, and that's not good. And I'll tell you, the rest of the world is not that far behind either. So if you look at UK is right next to us right now. As a matter of fact, Mexico has just surpassed US as being the #1 obese nation in the world. Brazil is like almost the same as US or even a little bit higher. So some countries are surpassing us. We used to be #1, and now Mexico, I know for sure, surpass us. Britain is right next to us. Okay, and then you got Australia, you got traditionally very good fitting countries like France, Italy. They are also on the rise now. One of the reasons that France has gotten a lot more obese is because McDonald's and all these fast food chains has sprung up in France everywhere. In fact, there's more McDonald's in France than anywhere else in Europe. So it really puts a lot of weight on the French people. I'll tell you, the first time I went to Paris years ago, I thought the French was like really fit. The guys was tall and slim. The ladies were perfect shape. And then recently I went back again and noticed, wow, there's a lot more overweight people now. Looks very similar to the US now. Italy, same thing. Italy used to be very healthy, right? Now Italians are getting punchy again as well. So you got to ask the question, what is the main cause of all that obesity? Oh my God, there's countries are getting fatter all over the world, even Asia. I mean, you look at Japan. Japan used to be very thin. They look really good. As a matter of fact, Japan is the thinnest country in Asia, and now Japanese waistlines are going up as well because of all those fast food, and the younger people are looking for convenience food, processed food, and so their diet has shifted from their ancient cuisines, which is very unhealthy. They adapted the standard American diet, the SAD diet, really. If you look at China, my God, China, the obesity level has skyrocketed, especially among kids. Teenagers, young kids, they're getting fatter and fatter. So if you look at the Chinese population, obviously Chinese had, there's a lot more people in China than US. But if you count the number of people, it's equivalent to the American obese people. I mean, the numbers are very similar, even though the percentage may be considerably lower than the US. So obesity is cursing the whole world right now. This is a major problem all over the place. So why are we having such a major issue with obesity? Americans has the highest medical costs, medical expenses than anywhere else in the world. Yet Americans have some of the most unhealthy habits, and also one of the most unhealthy nations in the world as well. So we have more chronic illnesses, we have more heart attacks, we have more cancer, diabetes than almost anywhere else in the world. So that's very ironic. You got to wonder why, right? There's something in the system has broken down, right? And let me warn you, if you're not, if we continue on this trend, by the year 2030, which is not that far away, right? Medicare will be completely bankrupt. And I tell you that when I retire, I won't be able to count on Medicare. I'll tell you what, I really want my Medicare when I retire, right? So, but because of the huge expenditure in medical costs, the American system is totally broken. And no one can afford the medical expenses anymore in the US. So something must be done now. And I meant right now, not tomorrow. Don't even think about it. We have to start moving. We have to start changing quickly. Or, you know, or nobody can, the whole system, the whole medical system is going to be bankrupt. What are we going to do, right, without Medicare? So what is causing the obesity? Number one, I'll tell you, it's the standard American diet, right? What constitutes the standard American diet? It is meat consumption. We eat more animal products and dairy than anywhere in the world, along with Brazil. Brazil also consumes a lot of meat, and Britain, and you see the meat consumption or the animal product consumption has gone up like crazy all over the world, even in third world nations. And the other big issue is SOS. Anyone heard of SOS? Is sugar. That's the first S. Oil. Second, the O, right? And the second S is the salt. That is causing a lot of problems. We know that sugar causes diabetes, right? Oil, especially saturated oil and all these oils has caused a lot of problems with obesity and also heart issues. Salt, hypertension, that's a big problem with overconsumption of salt. Processed and junk food, oh my God, that's a big one. If you don't do anything else, just eliminate all the processed and junk food out of your diet. I mean, you're doing wonders already for your health, right? So there's a great book by Michael Morse on salt, oil, sugar, salt, and oil. Sorry, sugar, salt, and oil, and it's all about how big industry alludes us to consume all these processed food because we're addicted in that they add the exact amount of salt, sugar, and oil to get us addicted, because they can hire all these PhDs, right? All these scientists working in a laboratory to figure exactly how much to add so that we get addicted to their food. And it's called the bliss point. So be careful. They have all the expertise. We have to be mindful of what we put in our mouth, because that's hurting our health. The other big one is fast food. We got more fast food chains than anywhere else in the world. Everywhere you look, right? Right outside where I live, about a mile from where I live, the main street has like at least somewhere around 10 fast food shops. You got Burger King, McDonald's, you got Hardee's, you got Wendy's, you name it, they're all over the place, right? So fast food obviously contains a lot of SOS. So, eliminate fast foods from your diet really helps. And also one more thing, alcohol. Alcohol is a big one. And most people don't think alcohol adds weight, but if you think about it, wine is a lot of sugar, a lot of fermented sugar, and you look at all alcohol for that matter has a lot of fermented sugar, and that gives you a lot of weight. Okay, so yeah, what can we do about it? In the next section, we're going to talk about, because of all this unhealthy diet, what is that doing to our health? What kind of illness, like I alluded to earlier, that's causing all of the problems in America, right? Heart attack being number one killer in America, right, followed by cancer, diabetes, and then you have also psychological issues as well. So we'll talk about all of that in our next video. I'm going to keep these nice and short, so you be attentive. And the next one, we're going to talk about all these chronic illnesses, different types of chronic illnesses, and what can we do about it, right? What can we do about it? It starts with our diet. What constitutes as a healthy diet? All right. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.